Okay. I am live. I I
Okay.
am live. I can hear myself, which unfortunately means that you can hear me too. Shiggles will be on in just a moment as soon as he straightens out apparently something that fell off his wall. Yeah. um wow. What a week this has been. And I can't wait to talk about it, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for Shiggles to hop back on before we get into all that. Oh my goodness. You may hear it in my voice. I don't know. I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm going to persevere and push through, try and give this as much energy as I can muster. Um, you may notice, by the way, that my helmet, my Spider Man helmet, is not currently on my wall because it fell off my wall while I was out of town. So these
All
things
right, I'm
happen.
back.
Oh, he's back. As soon as he goes live, then we'll get this whole thing rolling. In the meantime,
All right. Let me get my correct scene changed here. Oh no, my lights on me are gone.
oh no,
How could this have happened?
you need to get a stream deck, my man.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like they saved their brightness. Good. I'm not just super blown out. I am framed all wrong though. Oh no. Oh, okay. So I thought that whenever I sent you that screenshot of my settings,
Mm-hmm.
that it was just I'm gonna change to this. Do the giant angle for a second. I thought that it had, like my pan, tilt, and zoom were all zeros. And I was like, that's weird. Compensating too much. All right.
Oh, middle-aged man overcompensating. That never happens.
That's right. Oh, other way. I gotta go negative. That makes more sense.
All right. Did you get my invite?
Let me see. Oh no. I have to pan him over. Oh, there it is. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I see your logo.
And
Oh,
confirm.
there he is.
I always have to confirm with it to let it know that yes, indeed, I do want to do this collaboration with this camera.
Now that I have your image up, you need to pan over just slightly. You are nowhere
I
close to
do.
center.
Yeah, it's like still super far over on my screen too. Dang it, OBSBot. Or actually, it's OBS. OBS lost my settings. It's not OBSBot's fault this time.
We'll blame them next time.
So
Oh,
I
there we
guess I
go.
need to. Oh, I think I was centered in my. Let me see if I go here. Yes, okay. So I was centered on just when I have only the camera pulled up.
Mhm.
I believe I was centered before, and then I cropped it to compensate, which makes sense. That's a good way to do it, so I don't have to guess.
All right. So, before we get going, as a result of what I'm going to talk about in just a minute, I actually picked up. It shows. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 followers that I picked up this week. However, I think only 5 of them have stayed because my total number is only 5 higher than it was last week. But regardless, want to thank Flows, Pleasant Fun, Unknown User, Kobe FV, Oliver Dinopool, Melanie is Cool 69, and Cheeky Moose 0777 for the follows while we were not on the air. Oh, and Z just gave us a shout out with 3 viewers. Okay, cool.
Sweet.
I've been watching Z the last couple of days because he's hopping back into Apex. And he's been playing a lot of Warhammer over the last few months, and so we played Apex yesterday for a few hours and actually got a win at the very end of his stream. I'm going to take all the credit, even though I was dead long before the stream was over. I
helped.
I feel like I emotionally carried us to victory, even though it was probably morning doing most of the work.
It works as long as you get the dubs, right?
There you go.
That's what really matters.
I do want to announce a new affiliate link that I posted in the chat this week. It is for, I found out that there is a filament maker in Miami. Okay.
Okay.
Only like an hour or so south of where I'm at. So I went ahead and ordered a spool and I tried it out, which I'll show it in a minute. You know, a couple of the things that it's done so far. I have very positive things to say about it. So I went ahead and applied for an affiliate link. I got it. Any purchase from anyone, who uses the link from our channel will get 3% off. Okay. And we will get 3% back. Okay. From the purchase. It doesn't cost anything additional. In fact, there is a discount. If you use 3D Noob at the time of purchase, no matter what it is, okay, you actually get 3% off. And oddly enough, right now, they're running a sale where if any 2 filaments you buy that are part of the sale, you get 13% off. Any 3, you get 27% off. And if you buy in bulk, and they mean a lot of bulk, okay, because it's a minimum of 16 items, you get 40% off your purchase, which is still insane. So a lot of savings to be had, and their filament is actually, it's pretty good. I have a lot of very positive things to say. But I mean, we're just scratching the surface of what happened this week. Okay. Now Giggles is aware. I'm currently making a reaction video to it, but my setup from a year ago was featured on a very large YouTuber's channel where he does like reaction videos to people's setups. In fact, this was the 363rd episode of his Setup Wars series that he has. And it was a year ago that I made the submission. And I honestly had given up as to whether or not he was ever going to comment on it. He had a lot of very glowing things to say. Okay. So keep an eye out over the next few days. There will be a react video and a link so that you can watch the whole thing. I'm not going to show the whole thing in the react video because he says a lot of stuff that basically is, really, really nice and makes me really embarrassed. So I'm not going to comment on that stuff. Just the things he said about the technical equipment.
Okay.
So how was your week?
I watched. It was a week, man. So it was work-wise. Stuff got in the way a lot because I ended up getting drafted for both Saturday and Sunday this week.
Sweet.
So I worked all through from last week until the 3rd. So the 4th of July was the first day I've had off in 2 weeks. I did luck out and get the whole 3-day weekend off, which was nice. Because as I thought about it later, I only had 3 days off in the entire month of June.
Oh, wow.
And then one of those days I ended up helping my dad repair his fence. So I had 2 days off, basically.
Yeah, but you're cashing those checks.
Yeah. The paychecks are nice. They are definitely nice. Makes time fly, that's for sure. Lost a whole month. It kind of just flew by. As far as 3D printing stuff. So good news on the game body front, because I know it's touched before that my current big project is the Enterprise model.
Yes.
And got it from Game Body.
Mm-hmm.
Really happy with the plans.
Our favorite STL website that exists.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
Yep. They're paid models, but they're paid models for a reason. They're really good.
The quality, yeah.
Super detailed. They have a lot of very specific information too, like depending on what slicer software you use. Mm-hmm. So it's not just like you find a lot of good stuff on Maker World as well, but they are definitely optimized for Bamboo Studio. So if you don't have a Bamboo printer, then it kind of assumes that you have a lot of settings that are just the default for Bamboo Studio.
Right.
So if you're not using Bamboo Studio, you could get some
little bit of guesswork
results on things. Yeah, you kind of got to play with it a little. But Game Body has basically almost every model, I would say, has every major slicer software like recommended settings for that model if they're different than a default profile.
Oh wow. Okay.
So they have a lot of extra help. Unfortunately, the Enterprise doesn't have one for Bamboo Studio. A lot of the other models did.
Dope.
Uh, but it seemed to work pretty well. I've had pretty good printing results from it. The only one thing that was an issue was the way they sliced the saucer section of the model.
Mhm.
Is 4 of the pieces, 4 out of the 5, were too big for my A1 Mini.
Right.
And they were too big because Bamboo specifically advertises that build volume as a little bit bigger than it really prints, which I think is kind of common anymore.
It is far more common than I would have initially realized.
Yeah, because it's like they say 180, it's supposed to be 180 mils cubed,
Mhm.
but you can't actually print something that measures 180 millimeters because well, I would say not usually. There are, for some reason, some models I've seen, like one of the Hue Forges I printed very early on after I got the printer. I did scale it to 180 mils and then tell it like basically automatically centered it. And it did fit and it worked. It said it was going to print it and it did print. So it was like, oh yeah, it's fine because it's 180 and it's centered. So that's my build capacity. But I have noticed that almost every time I try and print something, if I put 180 in as a measurement for anything, it says it's outside of the build volume. And it not only tells you this warning, but it won't let you send it to the printer. Like it stops you. It does not let you do it.
Yeah.
So you can't even cowboy it and just be like, nah, whatever. I'm just going to hit print and see what I get. It just grays that option out and it says, no, you're outside the build volume.
Oh,
So it makes you go back and fix it. And I ran into that with the saucer section specifically. When you put them on the plates the way that they're oriented from Game Body, I think the biggest measurement, because I'd use the measurement tool to measure from the build plate to the top, and that would tell me it was like 179.15 millimeters or something. So it was under 180, but it would tell me it was too big and it would not let me print it. And of course, I've printed everything else out. So I can't just go rescaling it now because it just wouldn't work, I think like it would, if I wanted to try to rescale the whole saucer section, but then there's also that neck that connects to the body. So it's like, well, that wouldn't fit anymore. It's going to be a little bit too small. It's not going to fit. So my initial thing was I was going to cut it, but I didn't want to just use the slicer software kind of cut feature.
Right.
Because then I would end up with a 9-piece saucer section, which I thought was a little extreme. But I asked Game Body about it because I actually initially was just wanting to know how I could set up a cut that has the same kind of like edge chamfering they use. And instead they volunteered to they're like, hey, we will tell us what pieces you need. We will send those back to the modeling team and they will recut this model for you so it will work on the Mini.
That's amazing.
So I did that and it did take almost a month, but it didn't cost me anything except time. Because it was about 3.5 weeks later, they finally did get back to me and said that they had those pieces done for me to download.
And they did that for you. They did that for you complimentary.
Yes. Yeah.
That is really
basically they phrased it as when you purchase the model, you also get like lifetime support or whatever for it. That's part of the support. Is it's like it's too big for my print bed, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll make one smaller for your print bed.
That is amazing. I mean,
yeah, that's a big level of commitment for like we're selling an STL. And that's like a long way to go to support it, is to like, oh yeah, we can recut these pieces because you have a tiny printer. Even though I think the reason why those pieces measure that 179 and change, I think they thought it would work on an A1 Mini, or at least the smaller printers that have that 180 mil volume. I think they were trying to take that into account. It's like, well, with the tube pieces, those are easy to cut and just do like a half cut at the midpoint and then glue them together because they're a tube. There's not a lot of complicated geometry to it at all.
Right.
But with the saucer sections, there's a contour on both sides the whole way that has to match, and they have to line up perfectly. Otherwise, you're going to have weird gaps. So those would be a lot harder to cut into a decent looking final product. I think they kind of shaped those ones in mind with like, even if you had a small printer, this should work. These pieces are small enough, and that way your saucer, yes, it's multiple pieces, but The edges are chamfered in a way that they'll fit together really nice. So you have better seams than normally you would when just trying to like cut something and leave a butt seam on it.
Right.
And because the saucer is so thick, there's a big hollow space in the middle. And towards the center of it, they have like a support piece on each of the 4 pieces that they modeled.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps the spacing so it doesn't like flex in or out and then cause other alignment issues. But if you go cutting those models into smaller pieces, then it's like, well, then you have this support piece in there that's like, unless I cut it like a pie, it's not going to have that. And then that I think would make a really rough looking center section if you had like 9 pieces all centered around the middle that all had to kind of meet up. So yeah, it definitely feels like they tried to take that into account, which I appreciate. It's just unfortunate that it doesn't truly have 180 millimeters of travel to build.
Well, I mean, that's been a discussion with the newer H2D, because they advertise it as having a build plate that is 350, but you cannot hit 350 because of the side-by-side hot ends.
Yeah.
I think it's 320 by 320 going in each direction with five being shared in the middle. It's kind of annoying, but yeah. Who was it? I actually watched a video where someone printed out 3/4 boxes representing the actual build volume of each of his printers and have them available for when he's planning out different models. So he can actually look at his desk and say, okay, so I can have it go up to here, and then I'm going to have to move it over to another plate for the next thing. And so he has like 7 different printers, and he has a 3/4 box for each one so that he can measure out and plan exactly what's going to fit, because it shows his actual build volume, not the advertised one. So that was kind of cool.
That's great for quick planning like that. Have something that's a hard visual representation.
Right.
Makes a big difference.
So you're working on your big project. Did you get anything little done during the week?
I didn't get anything little done. No.
Okay.
I have I got the models downloaded for the new saucer.
And I know you've been working a lot.
Yeah. And I took the nacelle portions and the main body pieces. And I put 2 coats of airbrush paint on them so far, of the light gray. So far, I still have a hard time telling the difference between the gray pieces and the white pieces. So it's one of those where I think I'm going to try one more. I'm going to make one more attempt at it to thin down some more paint. Because the new airbrush works pretty good as far as like an amateur level user, it seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. It's just thinning it to the consistency that it says to thin it, which is milk, essentially, is what they tell you. That's what your paint should be. So I've mixed it to that way, and it looks good in the pot. But then once you actually put it on the model, if you don't go in super light coats, it does start to drip and run.
Okay.
So I've had a few where it was like I hit it too heavy on some of like the raised lettering for the details, and it would start to drip down the corners of that. So then I had to wipe that section off and then wait until it was tacky, and retry it. So I've had some trial and error going on with it, but I have 2 pretty even coats on them so far. And it's still just, I feel like there's so much white showing through that I'm kind of at the point where I was like, all right, I think I'll try to do at least 2 more coats of the really light kind of technique I've gotten down for moving the brush to get it nice and even. And if after 4 coats I'm still not happy with it, I'm going to try printing just the body pieces out of that space gray that I have.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to see how that turns out. And if I like that better, if I do, I might end up actually reprinting all of it in the space gray.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll do only the details with paint. And then in that case, I won't be airbrushing. I'll just be using like the brush, putting on, because I'll be putting on detail stuff that's on all the raised lettering. So I think mostly all that stuff is going to be either dark gray, some red, and some black. I think that's it.
Okay.
Although I do have to do something. I'll have to do, I think silver is what I settled on for the stand, because I printed the stand out, and the stand is black. I printed him out a matte black. So he's got his lettering there on the front. Yeah. So I think I want to just do like a nice bright silver on that stuff.
Yeah, if you do a dry brush, not even an airbrush, just on the front of the lettering, it'll pop right off.
Oh, hey, that's a good idea. I'm gonna try that.
That's what I did with the United Federation of Planets headphone holder that I painted that one time.
Mhm.
I did a dry brush of gold on the front of that
Oh,
to make
okay.
the letters pop, and it did a great job. Plus, then
That's
you don't
pretty
have to
cool.
worry
Yeah.
about it running or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a shot then.
So I will
Yeah, because
say,
that'll be good.
every now and again, practical prints can be just as exciting as some of the like colorful cartoon type stuff that we do.
Mhm.
And I came across this one. What do you think this is?
Uh, hmm. I don't know. Is that like a hanging peg?
It kind of looks like something you would hang on the wall, right? Because of the hole.
Uh-huh.
But
Oh, nice.
oh my goodness. Let, let's go. This thing is awesome. Okay. Um, and I actually printed out 6 of these in my Galaxy Purple. Okay. The
Hmm.
hole is for a keychain, obviously, so it can just hang on a key
Oh,
ring.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's portable.
Right. But it just slides right in. Okay. Top your can. No
See, I've
nails
needed that
flipping the
before.
wrong way. Okay. So
Exactly, because I usually have such short fingernails. Sometimes some of those are a little bit stiff.
tell me
It's
about
hard
it.
to get under there.
I mean, look at that. Okay. I completely clipped
Yep.
mine. It would be a pain in the butt to try and open this thing. Well, maybe not this one, but some other cans can be extraordinarily difficult. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, soda especially because any pop can that you get is so pressurized.
mm,
There's like no flex in those things, which is one of the reasons I don't buy them anymore. I had to buy them recently because I couldn't get any. Every store I went to, with 4th of July weekend, our Walmart was actually overrun and sold out of most stuff that you would think you would need for any kind of a tailgate or barbecue occasion.
sure. Yeah.
So they were so picked over that they didn't have any Pepsi Zero or any Coke Zero
Mm.
or any Dr. Pepper Zero for that matter. But they usually have a hard time stocking Dr. Pepper Zero at all.
So
So I was left with
instead of
only.
Dr. Pepper Zero, they have Zero Dr. Pepper.
That's right. All I had for Diet Pop, because I'm diabetic, I don't drink any sugar soda, was Diet Coke, which I think is the worst diet soda you can drink.
I
It has the
disagree.
harshest. It has the harshest aftertaste. I hate it. I would rather drink Diet Pepsi, like regular old school Diet Pepsi, than Diet Coke.
I stopped drinking soda altogether 5 years ago. I only drink soda water now.
Okay.
In fact, once I finish my Celsius, I have my Sifo backup ready to go. Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. There are some diet sodas that are so chalky when you go to drink them that they're impossible to keep down. Now, granted, I did try to drink a Diet Coke, I want to say a little over a year ago, because it's legitimately the only thing that was at the party that I was at. And it tasted like a mouthful of ashes after having not drank it for so long.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And I mean, I used to drink it constantly, just unreal. Okay, so one of the biggest problems with chocolate nowadays, okay, moving on to my next print, is how expensive it can be. Okay, but you have no idea until you print out a chocolate bar like this one.
Oh man. Ooh, how stylish.
Dude, it came out so clean. It looked. I'm not going to say the brand, but I mean, the person who designed this had a clear path in mind with the stitching.
Yeah.
And I mean, it looks like the bag. It's insane.
I love the stitched chocolate bar.
Yes, let's see. So that was a good one. I did print out a couple of few forges for my daughter to give as a birthday present for a friend, but I also printed one out for myself to keep.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, very nice. Very, very nice. I'm currently printing an item that I have on my Etsy shop, but it's not going to be done for another 17 hours or so. but you can always see it if you go to the Etsy shop. However, this next thing, at the end of the school year, for any students who said they wanted to participate, they actually had, wait, what's that? Morning wrote potato for some reason. Okay. All right. Morning potato. Sure.
I like potatoes.
Yeah. Potatoes are good. Anyway, one of my students requested this water dragon. And when I printed it, I didn't pay attention and I printed this massive brim on the bottom of it. And when I went to take it off the build plate, of course, it was a nightmare. The brim was stuck in between all the toes, in between all the segments. Everything was really tough to separate. And so I printed it this time for myself. I made it 3 times larger than what I had printed for the student and with no brim. And this is what printed out. Okay. It's this water dragon. Okay. Again, in Galaxy Purple. Look at the size of this thing. Okay.
Very nice.
It's just over 3 feet. It prints in a coil. Okay. But
oh yeah,
I mean, you can see there is absolutely the Centauri Carbon, Shiggles. You have no idea until you use this thing how amazing, and you're gonna know soon enough. Okay.
I know. I can't wait.
It is just absolutely fantastic. Now, remember, I'm using the bamboo cool plate. Oh, hydrate. Sure. We can hydrate. Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you, Z. Appreciate it. Okay. So this has like segmented feet. Okay. Segmented parts. It will coil back up if I want it to, but really, I just have it decorating one of my monitors when I'm not using it. It is just dangled over the side of it. It looks absolutely fantastic. Let me see if we can get the scales in focus. Yeah. Let's see the scales. Oh, yeah. So nice. Okay. The one I printed out for the student, I'm telling you, was like 1/3 the size of this. I wasn't even sure if it was going to be worth it to print it as big as I printed it. But once it was done, I was like, dude, this thing is fantastic. So yeah, big W for that one. All right, so now I'm going to get into the new filament that I purchased. Okay, from Free Mover is the name of the company. Remember, there is a link in the chat for a coupon code. And let's see, this first one I messed up when I went to color it. So I tried then to color over a segment that I had put some black on. I didn't mean to put, and it just looks horrible. But it's not the filament; it's my painting. Okay, so there's this little pumpkin. This is actually pumpkin colored filament. Okay, so
oh cool.
Right in between the eyes, it's discolored because when I went to color it in, like black got in between the eyes. So then I went over with a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow to try and match the pigment. Okay. And it did an okay job, but the real star of the show though is the filament. Okay, I'm gonna move it in close.
That is a pumpkin orange.
It is clean. Definitely and it is gorgeous.
Spot on.
Yes, I mean, love this thing. Then I went ahead and actually printed out. I love these little articulated sitters. Okay, so I found a pumpkin sitter. Okay.
Okay.
And this is also on the Centauri. You'll notice that the stem is a different color. I did not multicolor print it. The stem actually just printed separate, so I did a swap. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But look at, there is not a line anywhere on that thing. It is so clean and so perfect. Okay. This filament is so nice. I can't even express to you. I was nervous because I usually only use matte filament, but this is not matte filament. And the fact that it didn't produce any lines, being just standard PLA plus, okay, but you still get that sheen, okay. And I used the settings for Elegoo's PLA plus. I didn't use generic. I didn't, mess around with any settings. I didn't do anything except just select Elegoo's PLA plus when I went to print with this, and it was dialed in perfectly. Okay,
nice.
And by the way, this thing only took 12 minutes to print.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That printer is insanely
fast.
Quick
printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think, do I have anything else? That might be it for me as far as what I did this week. However, there is a lot that's going to be happening over the next week, assuming I can get my garage ready. I'm not saying that another printer arrived right as I got back from out of town. Because remember, I was gone for a week. So I didn't get a chance to print a whole lot while we were out of town. And I was cleaning my house and I've been sick for the last few days. So I haven't gotten a whole lot done over the last few days. But, okay, I have a huge announcement this upcoming week and the following week too, depending on when things arrive. Okay. One printer's already arrived. There are still 2 more that are potentially arriving. Okay.
Hey.
So I am. You saw my comment earlier in the week where I said I have no willpower. Okay. I legitimately have no self-control. And some of the deals that have come up have been too much to ignore.
Ooh.
So, yeah, there's some big stuff that's going to be coming down the pipe. And I'm going to be pushing even harder to try and get stuff rolling in the Etsy shop. I have several models I'm going to be adding, and I'm also I've been taking an online course on designing because I want to get my own stuff up there too.
Yeah.
But like I have a Doofenshmirtz keychain that I designed that I'm going to be showing next week. It can't print right now because I have this cat keychain printing right now, which you'll see, later. But the Doofenshmirtz, that will be a featured thing because it's my drawing that I turned into a keychain. So I don't have to credit anyone. I don't have to pay anyone. Okay, I made it. It's mine. So,
yep.
Plus,
very cool.
My current desk setup, I printed out an entire setup from stuff that was on STLFlix. Okay, it's a modular system for the desk, and it's specifically designed. This is a tech desk.
Remember that was a big sell point that they had Sony when they marketed the PS2 was because it had a DVD player built into it.
Yeah,
and it was like, it's the same price almost as just a DVD player. You can get this thing.
But you go through the process, like you said, printing out the manuals, printing out the cover art, actually, one second. Okay, I thought I was going to sneeze. Manufacturing the clamshells, okay, pressing the CDs, then the actual distribution,
shipping
out to all the stores, okay, maintaining. Okay, we sent you 60, you sold through 40. This is how much you owe us, and you still blah 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 blah. Like there was a constant thing that inventories had to be maintained between the seller and the distributor. Okay, none of that exists with digital. So how is it that digital games are either just as expensive or more expensive than the physical ones? It legitimately makes no sense. So why would I, will I be among the first to buy Grand Theft Auto? Possibly, because I thoroughly enjoy that game.
Maybe.
Okay. And Vice Cities is my favorite episode of all of the Grand Thefts that have ever come out. So a new Vice City to me is like, okay, I might be fully on board with that. But outside of that, why would I buy any digital game full price? I mean, look what this idiot with Stop Killing Games is going through, just trying to get people to acknowledge that, okay, we don't own games. Companies should plan in advance, especially for online titles. How are you going to sunset them in a way that doesn't, strip the person who spent a ton of money on your game of, their investment in keeping your game going for as long as it, you were milking it for all it was worth. Great. Okay. Yeah. But you had a dedicated fan base that was, actually keeping it going. Okay. And though, you in your user agreement said it is a license, it is not ownership, this, that, and the other thing. How do you reconcile a fair, like continuation or a fair access for a game title that you no longer want to support? And some of his points are really good and some of them are really stupid. Okay. Like one of the things he mentioned was the game The Crew, which underperformed from the very start.
Mm.
And a lot of people got refunds when they said they were no longer going to support it online. And they did allow some people to create a server that would let you play, like you could replay the offline missions. Okay. And if you had any kind of
Okay.
if you needed to re-download it, there were some people that had a server that with the original code so you could re-download it. Like if you bought a new computer but you wanted to keep the game. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. That's good. Great. But a lot of these companies don't put that plan in place or don't want to acknowledge that that is a fair thing to do for the people who have been investing in those titles. Now,
Yep.
the anti-argument to that, or the antithesis of that, is we provided you with a game that was designed to be online. We're no longer going to be supporting that game online anymore. It does not have a campaign of any kind. So, we just want to shut it down. And there's nothing saying that we have to run it in perpetuity. How would you even legislate that? Okay. If you create something, you have to run it until you die. No. Okay.
Yeah.
That expectation doesn't even make sense. So from a company's perspective, it's almost like if you're taking on the onus of introducing IP into the market and you want it protected, then you should have on the back end the understanding and the acknowledgement that you have to provide some level of access going forward for people who want to continue to have access to it. You don't want to give them access to your servers, or you don't want to give them like your original code, but okay, but you can still put the game somewhere or someone can take it over. And if nobody wants to, then it could just be cataloged somewhere so that someone then could take up the onus if they wanted to. Yeah. All right. It's funny. The printer I ordered, the two printers that I just ordered, one of them's already arrived. Another one is going to arrive probably within the next week to 2 weeks. And then the one I ordered back in March is supposed to arrive at the end of the month. Okay. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy.
I have been waiting a while on that one.
Well, it's the same one you're waiting for,
Oh, it's just another one.
Yeah. Because I ordered the one in February and I loved it so much, I ordered another one in March, But
yeah, I cannot wait for that thing to get here. Part of me was even like, maybe I should wait and like reprint all this stuff on the Centauri. But then I was like, no, that would be too far to wait for that.
All right, Z, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. And the shout out.
Catch you later, man.
I can understand why you would consider that. I don't know that it would even be remotely necessary for you to actually do that. But
yeah. Especially since I'm so far underway in the project, I don't want to just cut it off and be like, nah, I'm going to wait.
Besides which,
wait till I get this new printer.
You can always turn around and print the Eagle 5 on the Centauri.
Can do a lot on the Centauri.
Because I am definitely getting that model sometime soon. It's just it's new, so it didn't go on sale with everything else on their website.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely have to stress test it. Just run it a bunch whenever I get it.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how things pop out. I might find a couple of models that aren't like super like long prints and print the same thing, but I'll print it both on the A1 Mini and the Carbon and start them at the same time, because I want to see if the slicer prediction of like, how much time it takes, if those are accurate, one. Two, if one of those printers just happens to print faster than the other one at the same settings. And then I also want to have just the same model printed on each one so I can compare print quality. So I have like an actual physical representation in front. Just because I'm curious, I figure if I have both of them, I may as well try it.
That would be a great opportunity for you to make a video for the YouTube channel where you actually actively compare the two prints, and you could even do shorts that talk about the same stuff that you talk about in the video relating to that. I mean, there's a lot of content you can make doing head-to-head comparisons with those.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. So
Because we can try, like, I can compare, find a couple models that have, because I've thought about it a little bit. It's like just something to compare layer lines,
mhm,
and then something to compare overhangs. I'll find something that maybe has some, like, as close to an overhang that would need support, but like maybe one that's just shallow enough that it doesn't need it,
mhm.
and then see how each one handles it. And then also to handle, I want to compare directly the same model and see how they print with supports, because I have a feeling that the Centauri is going to really blow out the A1 on that, because that's one of its like big sore spots for me. Is if it's printed on a support, it is terrible. It looks awful. It
Oh,
needs filler, it needs sanding, it needs all of it.
the oh, actually, this pumpkin had a few supports on it,
Mm-hmm.
um, which the the one support that was attached to uh, this arm is supposed to be short like that. It didn't break off. Okay, the model actually had it where one arm was short and the other one was nubby like that. At
Okay.
first, I thought that it had ripped off the support, or the support had ripped off
Mm-hmm.
part of the model. But then when I looked at the model itself, this is exactly the way the person designed it, so that I guess the two arms would look different from each other.
Yeah.
But there are no marks from the supports that were on this thing, so that was helpful. The other one didn't have any supports, even though there's a couple of overhangs. There were actually no
Mm.
supports there. So,
Cool.
um, trying to think. There were no supports on that. Luke Skywalker didn't have any supports. Trying to think of something that was support heavy. Oh, okay. Malgus over here. He had a ton of supports.
Mm.
Okay. So remember him from a previous episode. But
Yup.
um, so he had supports going all along the base of his armor, which you can see
Mm-hmm.
is like super clean. Right here, there's a piece of a piece of
Just
the support, but it wasn't a piece of the model. So that's gone. Super clean, nice and smooth. Um, Depending on the person who designs it, a lot of people, if they pre-support the models, they are they actually make it so that the connection point between the support and the model is super thin or weak. So they break away with absolutely no trauma whatsoever. But then
Mhm.
every now and again you get the ones where um I guess either they didn't plan for it or you use supports that they didn't plan for. So the connection is different because I use tree supports for almost everything. I hate the standard supports. And I think there's a reason why Bamboo switched to tree supports as their standard instead of the older ones. Um,
Mhm.
but you still get those standard supports every now and again that don't want to let go, which is what happened to like the majority of my first few helmets when I printed them out. You know, the
Mm.
stuff just didn't want to come off. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it totally wrecked the bottom of a lot of the stuff I was printing early. Whereas the the Spider-Man helmet, which fell off the wall while I was out of town, the
Uh-huh.
actual hanger, because I only used tape on the back of it. I didn't use the holes like you're supposed to mount it.
Oh, okay.
I
Mhm.
guess eventually the humidity in the room added to the fact it was just held up by tape. Just pulled the thing off the wall. But um, let me see. You can see on the bottom of this thing. Okay, that had supports all the
Yeah.
way around it, and I
Yeah, it
used
looks great.
I used tree supports, and they came right off. There was no issues whatsoever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, again, this is like my one of my five favorite things I've ever printed because it just came out so perfect.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah, I lost my X-wing wireframe model, fell off my. I
Oh,
have him propped up. He's behind me. Just like set him on the bed.
yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah.
It fell down and crashed into that graphics card that was underneath it. So it didn't fall all the way to the bed or onto the end table.
Oh, did you end up getting that 7900 XT or whatever that you were looking at?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I did decide because part of it was because that was something I could buy and have right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a significant upgrade from my GPU. But the other one that I've been considering getting is just the 9070 XT, which is more expensive, but it is newer. And that's like one of the big things is I haven't considered ray tracing as a purchase factor
Mm-hmm.
uh, in a long time for a graphics card because I never was buying a card that I thought was strong enough that it could push the frames with ray tracing on that I wanted.
Right.
So I was like, well, it's not really viable at my price point, so it's not really a factor. But with the 9070 XT and the 7900 XT, those are both powerful enough cards. They can push the frames
Mm-hmm.
so that when I turn ray tracing on, I'm not sitting at like 40 FPS. However, the 7000 series has significantly less ray tracing performance because AMD finally made some pretty big strides in their newest series on ray tracing.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I've seen several reviewers say that it is pretty much on par with NVIDIA's at this point. So they made some pretty big leaps in that. So if I do want to consider ray tracing, I kind of need to go with the 9070 because the 7900, while it does have the raster performance to give me the frame rate back, its actual ray tracing performance handling is not very good.
Right.
It's like it's a little bit better than my 6000 series card, but not by enough that I think I would be blown away by it or feel like it was a worthwhile upgrade.
Not
It
really
would be
justify
a
it.
very, yeah, it's a really small kind of like incremental thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait and get the better one. I'm not going to buy this one, even though 550 in the current market is a super good price for that card. So
Right.
somebody's going to get a really good deal.
Well, it's tough. It's tough to make the good decision when the easy decision is always just floating right there. But
Yeah, and I don't have a toy. I haven't had to put together like a cool thing for a while, because I'm still waiting on my carbon. So
yeah. Well, I mean
I keep,
that's not going to require much when it comes to actually getting it up and running.
I know, but it gives me an excuse to go and like when I get the shipping notice on it, I think it's getting ready. Then it's like I can buy a table, get a big sturdy table to put both my printers on, and then when that gets here, I'll move everything. Get it all reconfigured on its new table.
Oh, I thought you were
Same room, just different spot.
I thought you were gonna move the A1 to another place so your wife can use it away from.
Well, it's still going to be in the same. We're going to keep both the printers in the same room.
Okay. But you have to tell her that you have to run some testing before she gets full access to.
That's right. Actually, because she batch prints a lot of stuff, so it's like she hasn't been using it in the last week like at all.
Oh, okay.
She printed out a bunch of stuff and then dropped it off, and then it was like she just kind of cooled it from there. She's like, okay, I printed all the things I needed, so now I'm just going to wait. Basically, and then somebody at some point will mention something about like, oh, the kids really like those things.
Yeah, right.
Most of them they've taken home, and then she'll be like, oh, I can print more.
How is I know you've been working a lot, but how is the other project that I asked you to help me with? How's that coming along?
That one is honestly, I still haven't had time for it.
Okay.
I apologize. I have not looked at them yet.
I printed out a test print using blue instead of brown. Okay. Okay. Because I just wanted to see, like, I have 4 different blues. Okay. For my bamboo. I do not have 4 different browns. I don't have 8 different browns. I definitely don't have 16 freaking different browns. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I did a test print in blue, and it actually came out not too bad in blue. So like, I've probably watched about 10 different creators doing, hue forges and, try this trick and then try this trick and then do this trick. So I literally just followed it. I kind of did all of them in one kind of Franken print just to see how it would come out. No background, just the dog. Just the dog. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it actually didn't come out too bad. I don't want to show it because it's not a final product. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take a picture of it for you. Actually, wait a second. I think I have a picture I can send to you because I sent it to my brother. Um, and I was happily surprised at how it came out, but I know in brown, it's not going to come out like that because blues
Yeah, I did see.
blues just tend to blend better.
Yeah, I did see a tip once upon a time of someone that recommended trying to play with either a single layer of white or, depending on kind of how your composite comes out, single layers of black, like when you're doing a lot of blending with similar colors,
Mhm.
which I haven't tried yet, but it has been something in the back of my mind. I'm like, maybe I should give that a shot when I have like a something that's a really dark overall image, and like waiting until I'm about midway or so through it, or once I'm through like the background layers, then trying to throw in just a single layer of white to kind of try to break apart foreground background. Yeah, there's some good blending in there. It's
Yeah.
not bad. He's blue.
The table is white. Okay, so there's it's actually not printed on a background. There's nothing there. It's just the dog.
Okay.
So in that, it's just in the face is where it's the most difficult, because
Yeah.
you have to bring out a lot of character and it has to be bright enough to see everything that's going on with a lot of very, very dark shades that are blending together. And if you go too light, it looks like something out of Rainbow Six because, I mean, not Rainbow Six, what's it called? The zombie one. Resident Evil.
Oh, Resident Evil.
Okay. Yeah, it's legitimately like it looks distorted and ripped apart. It just looks awful. So, yeah, I mean, the blue shows it can be done, but it just, I don't want it like that. I mean, I did have an idea where that could potentially work because, obviously he's a police officer and this is a retired military dog that he uses from time to time. And I was thinking like if I did one of those, the blue line American flags, and I actually printed that and then attached the dog on the front of it, it could potentially work because it is several different blues and grays and stuff like that. So it kind of goes with that theme. But
yeah,
I would have to be able to light up that flag in a way to make it work, which I could do if I use a shiny plate, and I print really thin layers for the flag. But my concern would be whether or not the light behind it would make the dog's face unreadable again anyway, just because I'm looking at a white background there and it is still very dark. So it's going to take some experimentation. And, whenever you have time to work on it, that would be great. But because you definitely have more experience with it, I can throw 100 different attempts at crap, but you just have a little bit more experience than I do. So,
yeah. And it was a light box, right? You were trying for that?
Ideally, yeah. Because that's what he specifically requested. Now, I will say that it makes more sense to me to do a light box where you have a shape, not trying to do a light box in the shape of the dog. So, yeah, let's not get crazy. Because even if you made that work, I would still have to then run lights through it, and that might get a little insane.
Be kind of nuts. To make every step after printing it out would be much more difficult if we go just trace the outline, extrude as box.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine. Okay, so let me see. What else? Oh. This upcoming weekend, well, I should say next weekend, obviously, but we're at the end of Sunday, so I'm going to say this upcoming weekend. Superman is coming out. Okay. So, what is your excitement level for Superman?
Pretty neutral. I did not realize it was coming out soon. I didn't realize that there was actually another Superman movie coming out until about 3 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've not been staying up to date on any kind of movie news or information.
Oh, my YouTube recommendations, like every other video, is something about
Oh man.
either Fantastic Four or Superman. It's just constant because the Fantastic Four comes out, I think, 2 weeks later, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Jurassic Park came out not this weekend, but last weekend. Okay.
Mhm.
And then, or it came out on Wednesday. Maybe it was Wednesday it came out. So it had like this whole weekend to make money. And then you have Superman next weekend. And then you have Fantastic Four a few weeks after that. So like 98% of the summer blockbuster lineup is in July, like just straight up July. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's been a rough and tumble time period for superhero movies as of late. And I have an odd optimism for both of these movies. And I am not a Fantastic Four fan in any way, shape, or form. But I have a feeling that this has a chance. Just going on. You didn't see the Thunderbolts, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay. The Thunderbolts.
I heard, like, I've tangentially heard just like from seeing people's reactions that actually a lot of people were pleasantly surprised. They thought it was better than they thought it was going to be, at least.
I went to see it with my brother and a childhood friend of ours, and then I took my kids the very next night, and I loved it both nights.
Oh, cool.
In fact, when it comes out on Disney Plus, I'll actually stream it on the Discord server so you can see it. But I thought it was really good.
Yeah, because I kind of fell off with I just felt like after, what was it, Endgame, when I was kind of like, I don't know, I think there was a perfect storm of like, I'd kind of hit saturation point at that with like a lot of superhero stuff at that point. And then that was a conclusion to a full cycle of stories. And then also some of the ones after that were not very good. They'd really let the quality slip on some of their
I think
movies, so it was like,
one of the big problems I think that they ran into that they haven't wanted to address is that they were making movies for characters they liked when they grew up, not popular characters. Okay. So, like Kevin Feige was a really big Eternals fan, apparently, when he was a teenager. But the Eternals have never been a popular property for Marvel Comics in general.
Yeah.
And
I would definitely did not like that one. I did watch Eternals and I was like,
I mean, like,
not a fan of this.
I tried to approach it with the most open mind possible, and I wanted my time back. There were so many things that didn't make sense in that movie, and I realized they were trying to get to a certain point. But to me, the greatest moment in that movie is watching the Eternals spring from inside the earth. Like, that looked absolutely amazing. And it has fed into some new storylines, especially for the latest Captain America movie, where they're arguing over the adamantium that they found inside the Celestial that was coming out of the Earth. So all the governments now are like trying to come up with a treaty so they can all share adamantium with each other. Okay, which of course opens the door for Wolverine to come into the primary 616 Marvel universe, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. But, it's a long way to get there. I'm the type of person where you could literally just tell me, by the way, Wolverine's going to be in this movie. And I'll be like, oh, cool. Wolverine's in the MCU. All right. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll watch that one.
I didn't need to see the Eternals for you to be able to bring adamantium into the universe.
Yeah.
But I'm one of the few people that I don't get saturated with stuff like that. I'm the type I don't get bored. I don't, if I like something, I just generally like it. Give me as much of it as you want to give me, and I will continue to consume it. Whereas with other people, it's like, man, nothing's been as good as Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So, I just think they've fallen off. Like, to me, it's more like people are trying to get clicks with their hot take on how much they hate the latest Marvel thing versus actually paying attention to it. And everyone wanted to hate the Thunderbolts and no one went to go see it. And I think that's one of the biggest like mistakes that people could make, because that movie was genuinely good. I mean, like genuine, and you'll see it. I will stream it, okay? And you'll see that the movie has a very specific place. It has a very specific message, which is different from other Marvel movies. And there's elements of it that are superfluous, but what movie doesn't have that? And in general, for an almost 3-hour movie, it has incredible pacing. I mean, it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie in any way, shape, or form. But then again, you could say that about Mission Impossible also. Mission Impossible did not feel like a 3-hour movie. That was really, really good. Oh, God. Trying to think. I want to transition into more tech talk now that we've covered everything 3D printing that I want to discuss for the week. There's a lot of negative stuff that's happened in tech this past week, but I don't know what's a good topic. Because people think that Microsoft is dying, even though I think Microsoft has a really solid business plan that they're kind of executing right now. And what else? If it's not named,
there was
what? Go ahead.
Oh, I forget her name, but she was on the development team for the first Xbox.
Oh yeah,
and she had that. She does something else now, but she had some live stream and she was very critical of like Xbox's direction.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people picked up on that. That was like, I saw that.
That was one of the big stories for the week. It was everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, it was more though, like, I felt like she expressed her personal opinions, which I can totally get, being as like, you were there when Xbox started. You helped launch it. You helped design it. You helped kind of like, they had to make everything, because before then Microsoft was sort of involved with games, but they had never made a console before.
No.
They had never been like a game development kind of focused studio before. They had, that was all brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of forged the way. And I can see that it's like, yeah, then you left and now you don't like where it is now. But how much of that, a lot of it, I think she did phrase too, as like things that she didn't like personally. But then a lot of news outlets, of course, for the clickbaits, they were like, X dev says Microsoft's Xbox is dying. Oh, Xbox is doomed. No more Xbox hardware and all this stuff. And it was like, a lot of that was either personal opinion or speculation on her part. She was not saying that, like, yup, I left because I know that Xbox is dying. It's like she was gone a long time ago.
A long time.
Like, I don't even think she was there during the development cycle for the 360. Nope. Yeah. So it's like she helped launch the Xbox and then not long after that she was gone. So it's like, you got to temper that kind of stuff, man. It's like, even if she was saying, I think Xbox is dead, it's like, it's not like she was working there and then last week she was like, yeah, this sucks. This is going down. I'm going to leave. I can
see what direction the wind is blowing and I'm going to adjust my course. No, I mean, I agree 100%. Like, I didn't even read the whole article. I just read like when she worked at Microsoft and I was like, you might as well just ask me about Microsoft. I feel like I've got as much in my playtime as she's got in her development time.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you're not actively in it, how can you sit there and make a comment that you feel like it's the wrong direction if they have a plan in place? It's either going to work or it's not going to work. But to be someone on the outside saying, oh, it's definitely not going to work, I feel like she may have missed a meeting or two or 1,000 in that time period,
Yeah, because I can see because part of it is I am also in this demographic that the handheld market is not for me. I already know that. I bought a Switch. I barely have played it. It has gotten so few hours on it. And I've tried to get into it. It's just I have not. There wasn't anything for it that I wanted to play that wasn't on another platform.
That's more comfortable to play on.
Was better, exactly. And it's like, I don't travel enough to make, the need for handheld gaming. And that was even like kind of my last hurrah with it was when I went to Norway. As I was like, I have some very long flights. So this is the perfect example of what they say this is for. I'm going to break this thing out. I charged it up. I did all the system updates it needed because I don't think I had powered it on for over a year at that point, year and a half. And I got a couple of games that I bought for it. That was like, something drop in, drop out. And I'm not going to go like a super story heavy game on a plane or something.
Mhm.
Because part of me was like, I'll get Xenoblade Chronicles or something. Everyone loves that. But I got like Untitled Goose Game and Into the Breach,
Okay.
which is like a roguelike kind of game. And I played those on the plane a little bit, but I found that even on like my 7-hour flight, I was bored of playing the game.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of like, it's a handheld primarily. It's not super comfortable to hold. And I was like, now I see why there's so many third-party solutions for that. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're designing a console to be primarily a handheld, shouldn't ergonomics be super high up on that list of things you're going to nail?
It's not
Instead
engrossing
of,
in its experience. Like, um, I just bought the Switch 2 when it came out because I have been a Switch Online member since the original Switch came out. So I had access to it, and I got the one with Mario Kart. Okay. And
yeah.
the new Mario Kart game is fantastic. It's a whole lot of fun to play. I have no interest in any of the other Switch 2 games that are out currently. Okay. Um, my whole thing is I like playing a lot of the retro games that are on there because you have access to original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, N64, Sega Genesis, okay, as part of your yearly membership. And I have
Yeah.
an appreciation for that. And I enjoy playing a lot of those games, but I play them primarily on my television through the Switch. I don't play them as much, you know, on the go because I don't like having my hands so far apart. It's not comfortable. Okay. And
Yeah.
I've seen some of the cases that people have come up with which bulk up the grips so it would make it feel more comfortable to play with. And I may investigate one of those solutions because I could see where that would be beneficial. But I enjoy actually having the Switch away from me and holding a controller, even if it's one of the retro style controllers, so that my hands are closer together because that's how I'm used to playing on controller. Having my hands
Yeah.
spread apart, 12 inches is not it's not ideal for me. Um, Same thing when I look at the PC market or the mobile PC market, where people are playing, the Allies and the Steam Decks and things like that. I have a great computer, and I mean, if my MacBook would play more games, I would play games on the MacBook. I cannot envision where I would spend like $800 on a mobile handheld and still keep my hands this far apart. you know I would be annoyed and frustrated with it because it's not how I like to play. i don't I don't like having my head pitched down. Okay. And they're too heavy to hold up. I've watched people smack themselves in the face by doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
And just in general, I mean, the new Xbox One, they did make thicker grips for it, but they're
Yeah.
vertical like a Sony controller. They're not angled like an Xbox controller. And I like Xbox controllers, like why would they market one that doesn't have this angle to hold the controller? It's what you're used to doing. Why It's
Yep.
bad enough my hand would be this far apart, but now it's going to be like this. It's not going to be like this, how I'm used to playing.
I would bet it's because they probably tested something that had the angle on it like that. But then because it is like you have to account for the width of that screen, it was like, well, once you're holding it at this wider stance, then that angle becomes even more fatiguing than have it straight up and down.
I just can't envision myself playing like this. That's why I don't play most PlayStation games. It's just not me. It's not how I do it. And so, plus, you lose so much power with that stuff. I mean, have you seen the performance of these things? Everyone's talking about, oh, well, this new one, it can do this, it can do that. And it still only gets like 45 frames per second, maybe 90 frames per second, depending on the game. On Fortnite, I'm playing at 360 frames per second. Apex, I'm playing 240 frames per second. Do I want to play 75 frames per second? No.
Yeah.
Why
it's like I saw some statistic that supposedly most of the Steam Deck / like those kind of like the Ioneos and whatnot, is that most of those handhelds are sold to people that are PC gamers primarily. But then that's the same thing as like for me, I was like, I would never choose that over my PC though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because maybe these people live in cities where they have longer commutes, so they're taking the train or the bus or something. But outside of those very specific use cases, I don't see myself enjoying playing a handheld at all.
Mm-mm.
Like it's just not something that I want to do.
No, and it's a big investment. I mean, it is not cheap in any way, shape, or form.
Which is kind of where the Switch had them beat for a long time, because the Switch was launched at $300,
mm-hmm.
and then that's just where they kept it. But now the Switch 2 is $450, which I think is because all of these competitors, with the exception of like the really low, like the entry level spec like Steam Decks, all of their competitors are way above that price point. So still at $450, they are the price competitor for sure. And it's like they did focus obviously a lot on making the Switch 2 a lot more performance focused than the original Switch. Because Switch 1, even when it came out, it launched with hardware that was like several years old. It was like 3 or 4 years old at that point.
Well, even this one is older hardware. The Switch 2 is not new hardware, but it is more performance based. The older games, like, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, play smoother on the Switch 2 than they do on the original Switch. Okay. By a good margin. There's much less lag. The timing is much more consistent because there's a couple of characters in there who have very odd timings in the way that they move and the way that they throw punches and things like that. And once you get used to the way they do it, you don't, if the system lags out and all of a sudden they're even a fraction of a second later than they would normally be, that throws that you're not going to win the fight because it's just, but with this new system, so far that I've played, it has been extraordinarily consistent. And the like Super Mario Brothers, when you're jumping up at the coin boxes on the original Switch, there are some times where it would glitch out and you'd only get like 2 or 3 because it just, it would have like non-detects when you smack the box, or you'd freeze in midair, and then when you land again and jump back up, you don't get any additional coins. Where this other one, it is very consistent. It plays much better, much smoother. But you shouldn't have to spend $450 to play a retro game.
Yeah. It's like at that point, it's like,
I mean, having said that, I got the Switch 2 because I was able to get it with the Mario Kart included, so I didn't have to spend $80 on Mario Kart. Okay.
Yeah.
The price point was $50 when it was included with the system versus $80. And and since Nintendo games never go on sale, I'll take the $30 discount in that scenario.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you don't have the luxury of being like, I'll play that later and then I won't have to pay full price for it. It's like, you still will.
And that is another thing I've never understood, why do digital games cost just as much as physical games do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a lot more, because physical games go on sale all the time. Digital games do not always go on sale. Which is why I usually don't buy digital games until they're heavily discounted. I mean, like, I just bought on Steam this past week. I bought 2 games. What was it? One of them was the original Injustice, because it was $2.99. Okay. For the Ultimate Edition. So every character, every map. Okay. And the other one was, let me see, I have to pull it up. I don't remember off the top of my head. And you can tell how excited I was because I haven't even downloaded either one of these yet. Oh, by the way, Phasmophobia had a huge update. We need to play again sometime soon.
Oh yeah, I saw they redid 2 of the farmhouses now.
At least
completely redone.
Yes, and I think there's a new mode in also. I don't remember what it's called, but where did it go? I don't even remember. Oh, RoboCop Rogue City. Okay. I saw people playing it when it first came out, and I was like, I love RoboCop. I could totally see myself playing this, but I'm not paying $60 for this game. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a $60 title at the time.
I got it for $6. Okay.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
yeah, I'll buy it for $6. And I'm sorry that game developers feel like their games are undervalued, this, that, and the other thing. But let's admit the truth here. I don't own this game. Okay. You're letting me play this game. It's like an extended rental. Why am I going to pay full price for a game and you're not even going to let me keep it? You know?
Like, yeah, because that was, I mean, a long time ago. Because I know there's probably most of the gaming community doesn't know this because they weren't alive when this discussion happened. But when the very first inklings of like online storefronts came in for consoles, I think is whenever it first started kind of gaining traction, was that a digital game could be done on a lower budget because, and they specifically cited the cost of like physical marketing that they would do, like when GameStop was a big thing still, and when you had like, they dedicated pretty much like your department store that would have an electronics section. They had electronics, but they devoted a lot of their floor space was advertising for video games. And they had a lot of that stuff out there. And it's like they had like modular things, like the actual cardboard cutouts, you know, of like advertising stuff that would have the physical copies packed into it. So they had all this marketing budget that they were like, oh, we don't have to pay for that stuff anymore. You know, if it's digital, we don't have to do all this physical marketing. So that's a big savings. Plus, they don't have to front the cost to manufacture thousands upon thousands of discs.
They don't have to press discs.
Put them into hard cases. Yeah, and they don't have cover art, that has to be physically printed. The process to be put into these cases.
The process of pressing discs when CDs first came out was so expensive that like DVDs cost $50 and $60 a piece when they first came out.
Yep.
Because of how expensive it was.
Pricey.
Okay. And I remember because I bought the first 5 DVDs that ever came on the market. Okay. My team won in a bowling league. It was a big cash league that we were in. And I went out and I bought a DVD player for $600, just a regular DVD player. And each movie was $60. Okay.
Yeah.
It was.
Remember that was a big sell point that they had Sony when they marketed the PS2 was because it had a DVD player built into it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's the same price almost. It's just a DVD player. You can get this thing.
But you go through the process, like you said, printing out the manuals, printing out the cover art, actually, one second. Okay, I thought I was going to sneeze. Manufacturing the clamshells, okay, pressing the CDs, then the actual distribution,
shipping
out to all the stores, okay, maintaining. Okay, we sent you 60, you sold through 40. This is how much you owe us, and you still blah 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 blah. Like there was a constant thing that inventories had to be maintained between the seller and the distributor. Okay, none of that exists with digital. So how is it that digital games are either just as expensive or more expensive than the physical ones? It legitimately makes no sense. So why would I, will I be among the first to buy Grand Theft Auto? Possibly, because I thoroughly enjoy that game.
Maybe.
Okay. And Vice Cities is my favorite episode of all of the Grand Thefts that have ever come out. So a new Vice City to me is like, okay, I might be fully on board with that. But outside of that, why would I buy any digital game full price? I mean, look what this idiot with Stop Killing Games is going through, just trying to get people to acknowledge that, okay, we don't own games. Companies should plan in advance, especially for online titles. How are you going to sunset them in a way that doesn't, strip the person who spent a ton of money on your game of, their investment in keeping your game going for as long as it, you were milking it for all it was worth. Great. Okay. Yeah. But you had a dedicated fan base that was, actually keeping it going. Okay. And though, you in your user agreement said it is a license, it is not ownership, this, that, and the other thing. How do you reconcile a fair, like continuation or a fair access for a game title that you no longer want to support. And some of his points are really good and some of them are really stupid. Okay. Like, one of the things he mentioned was the game The Crew, which underperformed from the very start. And a lot of people got refunds when they said they were no longer going to support it online. And they did allow some people to create a server that would let you play, like you could replay the offline missions. Okay. And if you had any kind of if you needed to re-download it, there were some people that had a server that with the original code so you could re-download it. Like if you bought a new computer but you wanted to keep the game. Okay, fine. That's good. Great. But a lot of these companies don't put that plan in place or don't want to acknowledge that that is a fair thing to do for the people who have been investing in those titles. Now, the anti-argument to that, or the antithesis of that, is, we provided you with a game that was designed to be online. We're no longer going to be supporting that game online anymore. It does not have a campaign of any kind. So, we just want to shut it down. And there's nothing saying that we have to run it in perpetuity. How would you even legislate that? Okay. If you create something, you have to run it until you die. No. Okay. Yeah. That expectation doesn't even make sense. So from a company's perspective, it's almost like if you're taking on the onus of introducing IP into the market and you want it protected, then you should have on the back end the understanding and the acknowledgement that you have to provide some level of access going forward for people who want to continue to have access to it. You don't want to give them access to your servers, or you don't want to give them like your original code, but you can still put the game somewhere or someone can take it over. And if nobody wants to, then it could just be cataloged somewhere so that someone then could take up the onus if they wanted to of keeping it going. There's nothing crazy in that. Okay.
Yeah, because almost every online game has some sort of community that likes to run private servers themselves anyways. Like you see that a lot. If a game doesn't allow it, that's a big deal to people. Because they're well, what if I want to do my own? Like the whole World of Warcraft one, Blizzard sued at least a couple of those people, but it was like they wanted to have their own custom servers that ran their version of the game that they wanted to have done. It wasn't even necessarily modded ones. A lot of them were just they liked a previous version of the game. They didn't want to play the current patch, and so they wanted to have their own private servers. And it was like that was a huge deal to them. They didn't want anybody else having the server access. But WoW's a little bit of a unique beast because they were like the first really successful MMO, so they're still one of the only ones that gets away with the subscription model, which is pretty much not enjoyed by anybody else anymore.
EA did something that no one expected recently. Anyone who knows me knows that I hate EA because they bought Westwood Studios, which was at the time developing all the Command and Conquer games, and then they immediately shut it down in the midst of them getting ready to release Command and Conquer's Generals 2, which never saw the light of day. Okay. So I will never forgive EA for that. But EA did just a few months ago release the source code for all of the Command and Conquer titles for anyone who wants to run online servers for people to be able to play against each other. Like, holy hell. That makes too much sense for a company like EA,
Yeah, it really does. It was surprising to me that it was, that was an EA decision. And they were like, sure, let's do that.
Seriously, it is in my opinion, one of the greatest franchises that's ever existed. Okay. Xbox just released the original Warcraft War Chest, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, okay, on Game Pass for PC, which I've been playing and I absolutely love it. But Command and Conquer is it's built different. It's just built different, And there's so many things I absolutely love about that series. I love the campaigns and things like Generals and even Command and Conquer Red Alert 2. If you wanted to do like a skirmish between you and a friend, being able to do that with the, on the maps need to be much bigger than they are. But, in general, they tried.
Mhm.
And the technology back then really didn't allow for it. But I would love to see someone actually take that and create new terrains or something for it since they have the source code.
Yeah.
That would be
'cause
amazing.
them putting the whole source code up doesn't just open up the whole like somebody else can make a server and you can play multiplayer again,
Mhm.
but it opens up a lot for anybody that wants to like really get into modding that game,
Mm.
and making big changes like that. Like, can we make the map bigger? Can we make new maps? Can we do, like a game like Generals, ostensibly, if somebody wanted to do this, they could write in new generals, new factions.
That was one of the things that was going to be so exciting about Generals too, is that they went from 3 countries. It was going to be something like 8. Okay. And that would have been amazing. Look at your Dune game. Okay. That game plays different for each and every faction involved in that game.
Yeah.
And I hate every single one of them. Okay.
I hate every single one.
I have not had a successful campaign with any of the factions. I get overrun so fast in that game. It's not even funny.
Yeah. That's one of those things is that game is super unforgiving. And even if you play like the faction that should have, like they're weighted towards one victory condition, it's still hard. It's still hard to do as a player.
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing that one online against people that have like mastered the systems and stuff. I think it would be just like trying to jump into like League of Legends right now or something, and just getting absolutely stomped by the people that have been playing it for decades.
I will tell you something straight up though. Any online game I ever had with Command and Conquer, I did not have a single like toxic person that I competed against. Never. Okay, not once. Although my brother was a big rage quitter in that game. Okay, it didn't matter. We used to have a 2-computer setup at our house, and so we would do it LAN style. Okay, so we didn't have it. The internet was too slow back then anyway. We would just play head to head, and it would always be, how'd you get helicopters so quick? How'd you get this? How'd you get that? I'm not playing like, okay, that's fine. Meanwhile, I try and play Magic the Gathering with him, and he's got all these stupid decks with like infinite combos. And to him, it's perfectly fair. He has 3 turns, and then I never play again. Like, okay.
I played once. My daughter tried to get me and my wife to. Well, we did play with her once. She was trying to get us into it, kind of Magic, and it was the same thing where she was very, very good at it, and she had her deck built specifically so that essentially, if you couldn't kind of stonewall her or stop her from doing it in the first 5 or 6 turns, she had this setup that then once you attacked her, you would set off a chain reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Of shit that was almost guaranteed to kill you. It was like, well, how am I supposed to beat you because I can't openly attack any of your units? Like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, I absolutely love playing Magic the Gathering, but there are times where I detest playing with my brother in Magic the Gathering because what entertains him is just him being dominant. It's not the playing of the game. It's that you can't play against him. And we play for very different reasons. I play to be entertained and to have fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be like me walking into a karate dojo of preschoolers. Okay. And being like, all right, I'm going to take on the whole class one at a time. Let's go.
Yeah. But like, I'm here to get my green belt. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to start with the 5-year-olds and work our way down. Okay. No. 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. Today's not your day. We're gonna, no. I mean, honestly, there was one point where I had this stupid deck that I made just out of spite, and it ended up being so frustrating for him because, like, a lot of his decks rely on battling against specific colors, and I made it a colorless deck that was nothing but artifacts. Okay, and he hated it because none of his cards would do anything. It had to target specific colors, and all my stuff was colorless. Like, he hated it. And then I took it apart and I forgot everything I had in it initially, and I was never able to put it back together.
Oh. Yeah, Magic is one of those that it's so complicated that I feel like it's a card game that for me would be easier to play as an online game because I need to constantly like reread all of the tooltips and all of the conditions for all the cards because it's like, well, wait a minute, what if I do this? I need to understand all of the ramifications of my actions.
I will tell you that there's good news for that. Okay. There is actually an online server. It's called MTG Go. It's Magic the Gathering Online. It is not the game. Okay. It is a server that has digital decks. Okay. And this is how I play my brother right now, because even though I have over 10,000 cards downstairs, okay, and innumerable decks, and I'm not joking about the 10,000 cards. I legitimately have at least 10,000 cards downstairs. But you play online the same way you would in person. Decks, I mean, the cards and everything, they have all of the, if you do this, this will happen. Everything that's printed on the card is printed on these digital cards. And we only play Commander style. We don't play the regular decks. The Commander style is the 100 card deck where none of the cards can be the same card. Okay. So it's 100 individual cards. And mixed into that are lands. Okay. So usually it's like between 55 and 60 cards and the rest are all lands. But none of them can be the same. You can't have identical cards. And so we'll play against each other on that. And he still has stupid, cheating combinations that are just annoying as hell. And I'll give him like 2 or 3 games. And always by the 3rd game, he pops out with some deck that it just, all right, I'm done. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you in a month,
Yeah. That's great.
He can't control himself. And he, like where you and I watch videos about 3D printing and about sometimes Apex or something like that, he watches almost nothing but Magic the Gathering videos. So he knows every combination. He knows how to
all the strats.
Now the cool thing is, pretty much originally this thing was not overly detailed. It didn't have a whole lot going on. I mean, it's just not even. But now they've expanded it so that every new deck that comes out in stores comes out on this game. Okay. You can buy packs, you can trade packs, you can trade individual cards. Okay. You can send someone like pre-configured decks, like so.
Okay.
I think I have like 9 decks right now in this thing. He has like 75. Okay. But it is fun. Wait, why did it go mute? Is that me or is that you?
That was me.
Okay.
I thought I unmuted after I cleared my throat, and then apparently I didn't push the button properly.
That'll learn you.
You know how it is.
Well, I know how it is when the power goes down anyway.
It's like, did you center your finger on the button and depress directly downward?
Did you try turning it
it's
off?
I think this is a 12-year-old microphone, so it's got some quirks.
Yeah, I don't know. Before you get yourself a handheld computer, maybe you want to get yourself a beacon microphone.
I like this microphone. It sounds all right, and it's blue, which I really appreciate because it is a blue brand microphone, and I thought that was a great addition. Look at it. Let's see if I'll put it in frame here. Look at that gorgeous blue color.
I'm looking more at all the hair and lint on the spit cap.
Don't look at that. It's an old microphone.
Meanwhile, you'll notice my little purple boy here. Okay.
Yeah, yours is nice and purple. It's pretty sweet looking.
I also have a red and a black.
All I need is a new windscreen. See, that's how you do that.
Okay, but like I've replaced this windscreen twice now because I just wanted to change the color. I came with a black one. I switched to red for a period of time. Now I'm on purple, and I'm probably going to stick with the purple for a while. But this just plugs in through the USB, and it memorizes all your settings. So
Yeah.
You could even change computers and you don't have to do anything. All your settings just stay the same.
I think mine's like that too. Because it doesn't have any technology. It has a gain knob. That's it.
Oh, see,
And a mute button.
I watch a lot of Harris Heller videos to help streamers, and they've never helped me in any way, shape, or form, except to make me feel like I'm trying to do better. But the HyperX and a couple other companies, they have these knobs on the front. In fact, at one point, I did have the Elgato Wave 3 microphone, which had multiple little buttons on the front. And he kept saying the worst thing about having those is you always want to try and touch them. Or if you move your microphone, you might accidentally touch them and it throws off your settings, which is why a microphone like this, where all your settings are on the software, then stored in the microphone, is ideal, because you can go through, do all of your balancing and your equalizer and all that stuff, all of your de-essing and your bass and your gain and all that stuff. Every time you unplug it or plug it in, or you move it to another computer and plug it in, whatever, it's always the same, because it just stores it right on the microphone. Nothing ever changes unless you want it to.
The special sauce of the beacon.
Or if you do the one thing that I did that I would never recommend, is I accidentally hit default one time, and I ended up having to recreate my equalizer because I accidentally one time hit default. And I was like, oops.
Yeah.
I guess that was default of the idiot who hit the button.
Ooh. I don't have my soundboard up. Oh, come on. Come on. It's going to be... No. I have too many options now. I can't find it.
Oh, no. Really?
It was super late, but everyone appreciated it, I'm sure. The crowd went wild for it. They knew.
Oh, that reminds me. There's one point in the Tech Swords video where he's talking about my cable management, and I'm gonna do a voice drop. I'm gonna add it to my soundboard from what he says, because he goes, of course you could just run your cables and attach them to the table simply, and maybe even hook them up underneath the table. But that is not the way of the Sith. He actually said that is not the way of the Sith.
Yep.
Because
I remember that.
I was like, oh, because that's when he highlighted my color coordinated pathing.
Yeah.
And
that's one thing. I had never seen that before. That's one thing you had never showed me was the cool color coded cable management stuff. And I was like, damn, that's nice.
Okay, first of all, I think I'm the only person who's ever done that before. Okay. I wanted to do something that would stand out. And I thought, honestly, when I made my submission and he saw my cable management, I would be on the first video after he saw that. I've been watching every video for a year thinking, this is the week, it's going to happen. And
it's going to happen.
It never. And honestly, after like 9-10 months, I was like, all right, I'll watch the video, but I know I'm not in it. And then I went ahead. One of the things I always do before I watch it is I scrub ahead just to see if I recognize. And on this one, I scrubbed ahead and I was like, wait a minute. Are those white Elgato sound panels in the back? Wait a second. That starts. I think that's my computer.
You're like, hey, I'm in it.
Oh my God. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's got like 4 million subscribers. I think like the people who followed this week, I'm almost certain I've seen all of them on his Discord server. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that's where they all came from.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't even for some reason that didn't even occur to me. I was just like, wow, that's just crazy that all of a sudden got a bunch of these followers. And they don't have names like user 17 million and user 17 million and 2.
Well, I mean, one of them is unknown user.
Yeah. I have one of those. I think that's if somebody deletes an account or something.
Oh, that's possible.
Because the last follower that I got 16 days ago, I don't remember their name. Because I remember at the time I thought their name sounded a little bit like an auto-generated, name. But now it is just listed on my activity feed as unknown user. and I cannot interact with it. It's just text. It doesn't, like, normally, you look at it and you can click on it to pull up their profile and stuff. It's just completely uninteractive text that says unknown user.
Yeah, like this person, Cheeky Moose 0777, created an account in 2019. I feel pretty good about that one.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. That's a real dude. They're all mad that they can't see your setup, though. They're like, what? They click into the live stream for the setup and they're like, hey, I can't see it.
The funny thing is, in that year, I have changed my setup so many times. They have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like the conference table that's in there, the leg broke off like maybe 2 weeks after I submitted the thing. The rear leg on the back right, when I went to adjust something, I slid it forward. When I went to slide it back, it just buckled under the table, and I had to take everything off the table. I had to get another table, replaced it.
Yeah.
And once I started taking things apart, there's no way it was going to come back to where it was. So it's just been a constant shift. And then I started getting all the 3D printing equipment. So the office has been in a constant flux because we just haven't reached our final form yet. That's all there is to it. I feel like we're getting close.
Yeah.
But it looks so different now. Okay. And, in the video, he said, I want to do something special for you because, I know you've been saving up for a 4090. I didn't tell him I already bought it in the last year since I submitted the video. But
yeah, it's been a long time.
Honestly, I was like, wait a second. Is he actually going to give me one of his old graphics cards? Because he has 4090s and 50 series, and like that would be crazy if he offered that.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
He didn't. Okay, but he did actually do something very nice, which I'm not going to talk about on the air. Okay.
Okay.
He did send me one of his, or it hasn't been sent yet, but he did give me a coupon code to go onto his website and get a free mouse pad because he has. Every year he makes like 12 or 13 mouse pads. So he's got this huge collection of mouse pads. And I found one that breaks down basically what's in a Founders Edition graphics card. So I got that one and I'm going to use it in my school to show kids, when when we're going over the basics of computing, what makes up the component, basically what's in the graphics card. So I'm going to use that in my classroom, which I think is fantastic, and no one else will have it. Makes my classroom unique. So plus, I just got a brand new mouse pad, legitimately like 3 weeks ago, which you haven't seen yet. You will see once I'm able to start taking pictures. It is utterly fantastic. It's a little bit different from that cloud one, but someone spilled coffee on it, not saying who. So needed to get a new mouse pad. And that 75% Aula keyboard that I have, that super thocky.
Yep.
Well, they were running a sale on a 96% version of the same keyboard. So yeah, that's on here now, and it is fantastic because I love having the numpad. As much as I like a 75% keyboard, not having the numpad sometimes is just a deterrent or a drawback. But this thing,
I like having the extra mousing room, but I miss the numpad every time I have to enter more than 2 numbers. Actually, a lot of times, even if I have to punch in like a 3-digit code, I automatically, like, my mouse hand comes away to go to the number pad, and then I'm like, that's right, I don't have one anymore.
But because this is a 96%, it doesn't have all the extra. It doesn't take up all that much space. It's nice. Everything's nice and tight and compacted.
Yeah, it's compacted down, so it's not just like, the big giant spread out one that's intended to take up your whole desk space.
And this keyboard is super thocky. I mean, just ASMR right there. Oh my gosh.
Discord's noise cancellation doesn't.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. I was hitting it pretty good, and you didn't hear anything. I mean, it is so nice.
See, mine's pretty good, but I have the satisfaction of building my own, which was so satisfying that I won't do it ever again.
Yeah, right. I have the desire to redo things all the time. So much so that I have no desire to do such a thing with my keyboard. So
Yeah.
I trust the fine people at Aula to do it for me.
Yep.
I thoroughly enjoyed the 75% keyboard. So when I found the exact same thing for the exact same price at 96, I was like, dude, come on. Like, really?
Yeah.
And
That's a good deal.
I mean, it's that pink to black like fade.
Yeah, the gradient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
I like the gradients. They are nice.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Especially the purple ones. They have some like gorgeous purple gradient keycap sets that you can find, and it's like they look so good. I just wish that I could find some that had. I like my shine through to be on the top, and they pretty much don't do that with gradients. Like I have not found a single one that has top of the key shine through legend. It is always on the front face of it.
Well, I mean, I'm getting used to the front facing letters on this.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous to look at. It's a little difficult to get used to typing on it, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
But it's fine to play on because the keys are like very accepting and I don't know, just in general, I like playing on this. I like when I do my books monthly for, my unnecessary expenditures and everything, I'm trying to figure out, whether or not I have 5 cents coming out of each check that is mine. Having the numpad is just such a welcome thing.
Yep. It's great. Once you get used to it, it is like, because I think, I don't know, I took keyboarding, when they still offered that as the actual class title in school. It's keyboarding. And yeah, and I did learn how to use numpad in that. And I remember at the time thinking as a child, I was like, this is dumb. I'm never going to be an accountant. And then probably 2 years later from that, it was like, yeah, this is way better than using the number row. So I'm just going to do this forever.
Well, I mean, I managed at GameStop for almost 3 years. Okay. And using the numpad when having to enter an entire night's worth of numbers into a book. Oh my God. So much better. You get so used to just that's like, oh, and like mentally, I'm always right there. I'm always just, oh yeah, I'd rather, and even if it's one number, I'd rather hit it here than up there. Except when I'm playing, Apex or Fortnite, because I can't even imagine having to hit one of these all the way over here.
Yeah, because they correlate. Well, the one hand not having to use either, using your left hand and moving it all the way to the number pad or letting go of the mouse is like both of those are bad options. But also in a lot of games, it's like they do a good job of your hotbar correlates, with those number keys. So you always know, like, well, since I have the exact visual representation in front of me and I don't even really have to look at the number, it's just I glance down. The skill I want to use is in that third box. So I'll just reach up and tap 3. That makes it like, that makes that natural because then the row of the keys matches the row of things that are on your screen. But in any other instance, yeah, number pad is the way to go. That's our hot take. We could put that in a TikTok and we would get just booed off the platform for being boomers.
Okay, boomer.
I can't believe you want a full-size keyboard. Gross. That's Ohio.
How do you have enough room on your desk for that thing? If I have enough room for a plastic chocolate bar, I've got enough room for the keyboard. Okay.
Your hand-stitched chocolate. Yes. It's fantastic. I'm going to have to print one of those out for the wife.
I saw that thing and I just had to get it. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, I've been focusing so much on A, work, and B, like fixing my house. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but I need to find some like fun little prints to do again.
Well, you need to print some of these too.
I can just knock out.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I do. I actually need to throw some of those around the house. Yeah, because it's the only cans I really open anymore are beer cans, but that's handy for that.
100%. Or
because we actually
5% by volume.
Yeah, that's right. I got a free 15 pack of 4 Peaks Wow wheat beer, and that stuff's really good. It's an orange wheat ale.
Okay.
Good stuff. So I've been drinking a little bit of that, and then I did have, what was it? It was my last day off before this weekend. I just had like a Sunday off, and that was my one day. But I remember Saturday night, I was like, I have not been getting time off, and I'm gonna party a little bit tonight. And I got on a whim. I went into the beer fridge to grab something at the gas station because I didn't want to drink just a beer. I wanted like a canned cocktail of some kind. And my first thought was to see if they had any of those, the Limeritas, the Bud Light things.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I want some of those. I don't get those free from work, so I have to buy one. So I went in there to go look for those, and I found, how at the airport they have those little buzz balls, which are like the little ball shaped.
Oh, those are so gross. So gross.
Well, they have buzz ball biggies if you want to buy them, and they are 1.5 liters buzz ball. They're huge.
I tried.
I didn't know it was 1.5 liters because it didn't because it's a ball. It doesn't look like it has the volume it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like enamored with the size of this stupid ball. And I was like, this is hilarious to me. I'm going to drink this. It's probably going to be way too sweet because they did have one that was lime margarita. And I was like, it's going to be too sweet, but who cares? It's going to be I'm just going to buy this. So I bought it, and I got it home and drank half of it, and I started feeling it. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm getting kind of, this feels like a lot. And I turned the little thing to look at it. I didn't realize there were 15% ABV.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, I downed half of this. And then I was like, this is 1.5 liters. I've had a lot. So it's like the next 20 minutes are going to be great.
I remember for a Super Bowl party, I bought several different types of beer. And I was like, there are going to be some wives here too. So I went ahead and got a few of those to have cocktails pre-made. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had them in the ice, and several people tried them, and I noticed no one was finishing them. So I went ahead and opened one. I tried it. I'm like, this is disgusting. How's this even get marketed? This is so bad.
The only reason they were successful is because they put them in airports, and you're getting on the plane. It's like, well, you don't have a lot of options. It's like, here you go. So people just chug it because they're getting on the plane.
I remember
I feel like that is 100% of their success.
Well, okay, so the same guy that made those is the same guy that made the the wine by the glass thing. Okay, it's literally like, it looks like a wine glass. Okay, but it has the same peel cap as those, and it's a glass of wine essentially, but it's a plastic. Okay, and he went on Shark Tank, and he had them try it, and they were all like, "Oh wow, this is just really good for what it is." And I was thinking to myself, man, that's actually pretty smart. Okay. And then when I saw that they came out with cocktails, I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, so this is like the next progression, the next natural. Oh God, no, so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. I immediately went back to my ND 2020, early 20s lifestyle, like OE, and I'm like, oh God, no, this is bad. This is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you buy when you can't get real stuff. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or if it's just like you haven't had a real cocktail, so you don't even know what to compare it to. So it's like, well, I mean, it's a margarita, right? It's like, actually not at all a margarita, but
yeah, it's funny.
It's supposed to be flavored like one.
My son is dying to go to Medieval Times. He wants to go to Medieval Times so badly. I've gone to Medieval Times all of one time. Okay. My wife and I went there years and years ago. And of course, I had to go there because I'm a huge fan of the Cable Guy, and I absolutely love that scene from the movie. So I was like, dude, I have to go to Medieval Times, and I got straight jacked from. I had what was it? It was Southern Comfort mixed with was it? It was either fruit punch or cranberry juice. I forget which one. Okay, and then they did like orange, a little bit of orange juice. Just to give it a thicker like appearance or whatever. But it was in this giant punch bowl, and I had like 3 of them. Okay. And by the end of the match, I was Jim Carrey, okay, at Medieval Times. I had the time of my life. And then I'm sitting there going, I can't enjoy myself that way in front of my son. So I'm not dying to go to Medieval Times, like.
I love it. I think I've been like 3 times or something because it's a significant drive.
Well, the
But actually, I
closest.
thought it was kind of funny. The first one I went to was by Disneyland in California. And then I did not realize until like several years after that that we had one in Denver. And I was like, what? How long has there been a medieval times here?
Yeah, the closest one to us is in Orlando, and that is,
Mm.
though it's not super far, it's also not very close. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Not to mention that for me, from where I live, because I live so far north of Denver, that in the like hour 20 or hour 30 minutes it takes to get down to medieval times, I pass by several other places that are also very good. One of them is Cinzetti's, and it's an Italian buffet, but it's
hmm.
real Italian food. It's really good.
Oh, because it's funny you should say that. There is a like this mobster style dinner show in Orlando. So it's like medieval
Nice.
times, but the mafia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and it's not like Sopranos Mafia. Okay, it's like Oscar. It's like Oscar. Okay, it's like 1950s or 40s Mafia. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they have an Italian buffet, and it is not high
Ooh.
end Italian in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they have like,
It's about the show.
oh yeah, it's all about the show, and it is about, I mean, like just oodles and oodles of sauce and noodles. That's legitimately is all over the buffet. Um,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of like dinner shows like that in that area. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's Arabian Nights. Okay, which is, you know, a very similar thing to medieval times. There's Dolly Parton had a show there. I don't think it's there anymore. With like dancing horses and stuff like that. And then there's also Sleuths, which is a murder mystery dinner theater. Um,
Yeah.
and that one's is actually kind of cool because they take your mugshot at the beginning, and you're supposed to hazard a guess and put it on paper. Supposedly you can win a prize if you guess who the actual murderer is before the end of the story.
That's
So
cool.
that one was interesting. Trying to think, there's some crazy ones. Plus, escape rooms now are the big thing up there. There's probably like 13 or 1400 escape rooms in Orlando now, including 2 of them at Universal. They have a Back to the Future one and a Jurassic Park one.
Oh, cool.
We did the Back to the Future one. We haven't done the Jurassic Park one yet. The Back to the Future one, I have to admit, is a very cool escape room.
That sounds really cool. I would love to do that. We
Well, I
got to
mean,
do one of those. Every time I've brought it up to the wife,
mhm.
she's wanted to go, but then she has to be in the right mood for it because she does have like some issues with claustrophobia sometimes. And it's like
So do
any
I.
day that we've had that was like, this is a day we could go do this. She's like, I can't do it today. Like, I wouldn't be able to be locked in a room today. Like, I'm going to freak out. I can't do it.
Well, I haven't experienced any where you're in a small room, to be honest with you. They're like regular
Well,
size rooms.
yeah, it's just for her. It's like it's being locked in somewhere.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's like a specific name for a condition like that. But the fact that she can't get out, even though I've explained to her many times, if there was an emergency, we could get out.
Oh, you can
She's like, that's it's not the same.
you
It's
can
just like
legitimately
it just
if you hit the stop button, the door immediately opens. Like
mm,
uh it's not they don't even portray it as a life and death thing. Like the second you don't
mm,
want to be there anymore, you just tell them, they open the door, they let you out. I mean that's it.
yeah.
But I get it. I am claustrophobic. Which I did while I was waiting in line for um one of the rides. Might have been the new Battle at the Ministry ride at Epic. I did experience a little bit of claustrophobia because we were in a hallway. No, it was for the King Kong ride. That's what it was. We were
Mhm.
in a hallway that was completely full of people, and the line was not moving. And it's not that the line
Uh,
wasn't moving, but I couldn't see the end of the line. So
uh,
I mean, like, and the hallway I want is like this window that I'm in right now. That's what it felt like. Okay. And I
yeah.
couldn't see 4 feet in front of me, and it was dark behind me. So I couldn't see anything behind me. It's like I
Mm,
was underground in a tunnel, and I was
yeah.
getting like claustrophobia was kicking in. It
Yeah.
was not an amazing feeling.
You wouldn't want to eat in what did they call that place? It's a cave. It has a name. I forget what it is, but at Casa Bonita. That's where we ate last time when we were there. It looks like you're in a mine. It's like how it's styled.
Oh.
So it's very closed in and dark.
I don't mind a dark restaurant. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if I get the impression that the walls are closing in on me, yeah, it's bad.
Mm.
All right, let's see. Oh, we've been on for 2 hours minus the 7 or 8 minutes that my power was out.
Yeah.
All right, I think this might be a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I'm hoping to get some good news this week on deliveries. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten any shipping notifications yet. I'm hoping something happens this week. It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And let me think. Oh, if I can get my garage set up, I'm hoping to have something to show next week from the one entry. In fact, I'm gonna send you the message to show you what model this was.
Okay.
And like the I'll talk to you about the deal offline. And again, at whatever point I get my first print done with it, I'll talk about it online then.
Yeah, then we can do the unveiling.
Yeah, I mean, because like I'm gonna film an unboxing for it because it's gonna be my first one that I'm doing like that. And I wanna it's something completely different from what I've ever done before. So I'm super nervous. And, you know, the videos I'm watching are not making me feel any less nervous because everyone talks about, you know, the potential for failure and all that. It's like, yeah, okay, this is what we're doing. But so I'm excited to try. I'm nervous as hell, but yeah, so that's going to be something different.
Cool.
What do you have this week? You're working on your project.
Yep. This week, I'm going to figure out whether the airbrushing is going to be acceptable or if I'm going to reprint in gray. So I'm going to, yeah, that's going to be the big thing. But also the saucer. I can finally print the saucer section and get that assembled. I'm hoping that by next Sunday, I will have at least I want to have the body done, whether I'm painting or reprinting in the space gray. But I want to have the body done with the nacelles attached on the struts and the lights run to those sections at least. And then have the saucer, at the very least, have the saucer components printed out, if not like having them pre-assembled, like glued into the form where I can run lights in them. So I want to get that stuff done. So I'm basically just going to knock out the stuff that I know I can do now, like the stand. I'll get the stand, try the dry brush on the lettering and get that done. So hopefully I'll have the stand to show off. I'll have most of the assembly done for the main part, and I'll have the pieces of the saucer printed out so we can see, can at least give a mock-up of like, we can see part of it lit up and then kind of what it's going to look like when it's done. And then by the following week is when I'm shooting to have everything done. So hopefully by then I'll have completely assembled and painted and lit the model.
Awesome.
And also just do some fun prints. I'm going to just find some smaller stuff to print in the meantime, since I don't really need the printer itself for too much right now. So I want to get some stuff done like that. Just find some smaller stuff, maybe some cool multicolor ones, you know, I can throw in there.
Yeah, I'm starting to print out stuff that I want for Halloween so that I'm a way ahead.
That's a waste.
So I mean, because I didn't have my printers at this point last year.
Yeah,
I got it right before Halloween last year, so there wasn't a whole lot that I could squeeze in. So I'm trying to get some stuff that I would want to be able to like put on display and stuff like that.
Yeah, Halloween decorations is a great idea, actually.
So, but I have an idea also, which I'll talk to you about after we're done. Did you want to play something tonight, or did you have to go?
I'm actually going to go tonight and do some more painting work.
Okay. All right. Just hang out for a minute after we're done. I have a thought for your painting that might help you.
Oh, that would be great.
And yeah. So anyway, I see an ad's going to start in 50 seconds. So good time to close it out. All right. Let's see. Unless something major comes up, we should be on next week. And I still haven't posted the last 2 episodes. So this week there's going to be 3 episodes of the show going up on the various podcasting sources. Okay, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify Podcasts. Additionally, make sure that if you're interested, make sure you check out my Etsy store and any of the affiliate links, especially Free Mover. Okay, telling you this is, I don't know how new they are, but I just discovered that they're nearby, and yeah, their filament is super nice. So check it out. They've got deals going right now. Use my code 3D Noob to get 3% off, and that's it for my side. So for myself and for Giggles, I mean, if you're not 3D printing,
then what the hell are you doing?
Exactly. All right. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.
Yep. We will see everyone next week. Have a good one.